Greetings everyone, the New York Thrifter here, and today I wanted to start out the vlog with a giant pile of things that I got listed on eBay. Now this week I was doing an experiment to see what it would look like if I did eBay full-time. So for 5 days I was doing 8-hour days. I'm on day 4 now on Thursday. And yesterday I got a little busy with my day job, and so I wasn't able to put in my my full hours, and I didn't list anything. So today I was very serious about getting things into my eBay store. This is a pile of 50 items, mainly women's clothes, that I was able to clean, photograph, and list, and then bag for inventory all today. I did get several other things done, but I just wanted to start out by showing you my giant pile of items that I'm pretty proud of, I have to say. If this all sells, we're looking at lots of hundreds of dollars, and so that makes me really happy. And I will be back shortly and show you some of the other things that I got done today, along with answering some questions that commenters left on my previous vlogs. Okay, it's time to do some shipping, and I am here to report that it is exactly what I feared would happen when I missed a day listing. My sales went down. Not horribly, but enough that I noticed a difference. So you might recall from yesterday's vlog, I spent a day the majority of my day working on my day job rather than eBay. I listed exactly 0 items, and so the sales, instead of getting 8 or 9 sales like I was, I have 5 sales for today. So the first one I will show you is this raw G-Star men's shirt. This brand tends to do very well for me. I picked this up for around $2, and it sold for $16 on best offer plus shipping. Next up is a Michael Stars woman's top, very bright, interesting colors. I was doing some experimenting with Michael Stars as well as Splendid to see how well they sold. This particular piece I picked up for just under $3. I sold it for $18.99 plus shipping. Pretty quickly, I would say within maybe 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, 2 or 3. So not too bad. I still don't think I'm going to be investing a lot in Michael Stars, however. Now I have an Athleta dress, and this is one that you can wear inside out. It's called the Inverse Drape Dress in purple and gray. And I bought this for $9, and I sold it for $29 plus shipping. So I really like buying Athleta. It does well for me. This is a New with Tags Bob Mackie wearable art shirt, and it's got the faux jewel embellishments and embroidery on it. Bob Mackie does really well for me. I purchased this for $6, and I sold it for $19.99 plus shipping. I usually sell it for a little bit more money, but they made an offer, and I thought, hey, why not get my money back out of it? And then my last piece I'm going to ship today, this is a Diane von Furstenberg summer top, and it is made out of silk. I purchased it for $5, and it sold for, let me scroll down, $32.99 plus shipping. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go onto eBay. I'm going to print up the labels. Somebody asked a question in an earlier vlog asking me about my printer. Let me show it to you. This is a Dymo Label Writer 4XL. And if you're interested in Dymo, they have several different printers for resellers. The 4XL is, I believe, a little more expensive than their other ones, but I really liked it. It was the right size for me. So I picked that up. You're going to see my scale in the background. I got a postal scale from Amazon that I paid, I believe, $16.99 for Prime, so I didn't pay shipping on it. So that was a really great pickup. I recommend scales to everyone because that's the way you can make sure you're not going to get into trouble with shipping. You know exactly how much everything weighs. And so I am going to package up these 5 items that I sold today and take them over to the post office.
Now that you've seen what I've sold for the past day, let's go through all of the profits. So the sales came to $134.91. Fees to both PayPal and eBay were a total of $20.24. For total shipping costs, I paid $19.31. And for the cost of goods sold, or how much it cost for me to purchase all 5 items, I spent $24.75. And so that leaves me with a total profit of $70.61. Now, again, this is lower than my previous days, but I believe that is because I wasn't listing and I wasn't selling as much. So really, that's on me for the dip in profit. Something else that I did today was working with online consignment. And there are 2 websites that I go to consign online, and those are threadup.com and swap.com. Now, a lot of resellers will use these sites to get rid of extra clothes that they have. And what I mean by that is, say that you go to the bins or a yard sale and you get some inexpensive pieces, and for whatever reason you don't want to list them in your eBay store. Maybe you don't have enough time, maybe they don't fit the general aesthetic of your store. Maybe they are not going to be selling for enough money for you to take the time to photograph and list them. And in that case, you can order labels or packages from either of these companies, and you can send in your excess pieces and hopefully get payouts for whatever you send in. So what I'm going to go through next is I'm going to walk you through ThredUp and then Swap, and I want to talk about what you can reasonably expect to make from both of the sites and when you want to use both of the sites. So if you want to follow along, I'll just run through a few things. Okay, so first we're going to start out with ThredUp, and that is spelled ThredUp. And this is secondhand clothing sold online, although there are some new with tag items as well. So the first thing you need to know about ThredUp is it only sells 2 types of clothing, that's women's and kids. You will not find men's clothing on this site. Something else that you need to know is this tends to be a little bit more high-end than other secondhand online sources, which means the prices are generally a little bit higher to buy. So from a reseller standpoint, what you need to know first is they do have what they call their clean out. And what the clean out is you order a kit and they send you a big bag that you fill up with clothes and shoes, and then you ship it back to them, and theoretically you get paid. Although a lot of people find that they don't pay as much as they hoped for. So there's a lot of really good press for ThredUp. They have been online for several years now. And so let's see how it works. So the first thing you need to do is you need to make sure that all the clothing that you send in is defect free, no stains or holes. They say on trend, and really what this means is a lot of it is a seasonal. So in the middle of a summer months, you don't necessarily want to send wool sweaters in. Also, you don't want to send vintage or something too old. They like newer clothing. And then they say T for top brands. I don't know about that. They will take a little bit of everything, but again, it's going to depend on how much your payout is. They would like to see all, designer brands, but wouldn't we all? So they evaluate all of the pieces and you get paid two ways. You can either get paid up front, and what they'll do is they will immediately give you money for your items, and which you can transfer into your PayPal account, or they'll do consignment, and so you won't see the payout until the item actually sells. It's really hit or miss which one you're going to get. You do not make any decisions on whether you get paid upfront or on consignment. That's completely up to ThredUp to make that decision. Something else that you need to know is they price the items themselves. You have no say in how an item is priced. And so if they feel that that pair of jeans is only worth $8, they will put the $8 price tag on it, and there's nothing you can do about that. ThredUp also has what they call the payout estimator. So when you click on that, what you're going to find is you can type in the brand that's something you want to sell along with the category to find out about how much you're going to make. So for instance, if I typed in J. Crew and I said dresses, here are some recent sales that were made. And so when they sold this dress, the person who sent it in received $9. When they sold this cocktail dress, the person that sent it in received $20. Again, you don't really have any control over this. It very much is hit or miss. And what you're going to find is a lot of items have very, very low payouts. So I just typed in Gap dresses, and these Gap dresses estimated payout for casual dresses is $2.55. This is a casual dress that was probably on sale that only made 75 cents for the person who sent it in. So obviously, even if you're buying items from the Goodwill bins, an outlet, you're still going to either be losing money or not making a whole lot. The same with some children. Here's some Gap dresses for $1.20 payout, $1.05 payout. So this is where people sometimes find themselves getting into trouble, not making as much money as they thought they might. So as one final thing, let's look. I know tops are one that really have no real resale value on ThredUp. So some of these Gap tops, 43 cents, 50 cents, obviously not something that you really want to send in. I want to direct you to another page on ThredUp. This is part of their customer service page. It's very hard to find. It's called How Much Will I Earn for My Clothing? I did create a short link to this to make it easier to find. If you type in bit.ly/ThredUp payout, you will find it. And the reason I wanted to show you this is it tells you how much of the listing price you're going to receive for your different items. And this is really where you see how you could only make like 50 cents on an item. This really explains it. So here it says if an item is listed on the ThredUp page for under $14.99, if you're selling a woman's piece for upfront or consignment, you're only going to be making 5% of that listed price. So if an item is sold for $10, you're only going to be making 5% of that $10. If an item is sold between $15 and $19.99, the price is 15% that you'll be getting. Between $20 and $29.99, you get 20%, and then it goes up from there. So really, if you send in anything that's going to be listed for $29.99 and below, you're really looking at very, very small payouts. So what I recommend for ThredUp is you find things that they are going to sell for prices higher than $30. And only then are you going to find the payout is really going to be worth it and you won't be losing money. Okay, so for the second online consignment website we're looking at, we have swap.com. Now, this is what they call the largest online consignment and thrift store And it's really great because I find that you can make more money, believe it or not, on what is a bit of a lower end site, that their prices are what I find a lot lower than ThredUp. But their payouts are a lot larger than ThredUp. And so on swap.com, you have men's, women's, and children's clothing that is sold. And so I suggest you go on swap.com and check them out. Okay, so now let's look at the fees for using swap.com. Instead of giving you a percentage of the sale price, they take a commission out of the sale price. So what that means is for whatever an item sells for, they will take 30% of that plus $1.50 per item. So say that you have a piece and it sells for $10. They're going to take $3 for the 30% commission along with $1.50. That leaves you with $5.50 of that sale. Now, when you look at how much they were taking on ThredUp, for the same sale, since they gave you 5% of that $10, you would only be making 50 cents on that sale. So you can see why a lot of the time swap.com tends to be the better place to consign items online. One thing that we didn't discuss when we were talking about ThredUp was the inbound shipping fee. And what that means is ThredUp will send you a bag to fill up with clothes to send back to them. And to get that bag delivered to you, it costs between about $3.99 and $11.99, depending on whether or not they have deals going on. So for swap.com, there is a flat fee for inbound service for $11.90. And for that, you actually need to have your own shipping material. They require that any shipment you send in be sent in a box or a bag that is smaller than 20 inches by 20 inches by 17 inches, and it cannot weigh more than 50 pounds. So that is a pretty good deal because I usually will go to Staples. I will get a box just under the dimensions, and I will fill it up till it's about 45 pounds worth of clothes, and I will send it in. And so you get a lot of clothes sent to Swap at one time. The bags for ThredUp tend to be a lot smaller, so you're not transporting quite as many items. So even if you are paying between $3.99 and $5.99 on a deal, it still can add up quickly if you want to send large quantities in. So that's another way that I think swap.com does it better. The last thing that we want to talk about with swap.com is how much you set the price for your items. And yes, you heard me right. You set the price on this website for how much you want your items to sell for. Swap.com will give you suggestions on how much they think a price should be set at for quick and efficient selling. And so here we go. For example, if you wanted to sell women's or men's clothing for bargain brands like Faded Glory, White Stag, or Morona, so that's Target and Walmart brands, they suggest setting an average price for between $3 and $5. For basic brands like Express, Gap, Forever 21, and H&M, they suggest setting the price at $7 to $11. And then premium brands, Anne Klein, Michael Kors, Victoria's Secret, the average price is going to be between $12 and $24. Now, obviously, if you had a designer brand like, say, Tory Burch, you could probably price it a little bit higher to sell. And so what you're going to see here is if you have a basic brand or even some premium brands, it can really pay to send them into Swap because you're, again, only having to pay swap.com 30% of the sale price plus $1.50. And so if you're selling items between $7 and $24, your return could be quite good, especially if you got the pieces at a really great price. They also have suggested pricing for kids' clothing. So for their bargain brands, it's between $3 and $5. They also suggest that you sell in sets. So for example, if you have two onesies that are the same brand and the same size, you might consider selling them as a set, and that's where you get the $3 to $5 mark. For basic brands like Oshkosh, Carter's, and Gymboree, single items should be priced between $4 and $6, with sets between $5 and $10. And then premium brands, which Abercrombie and Fitch apparently is a premium brand, Ralph Lauren, Bowden, single items can sell between $4 and $9 and sets between $8 and $18. And this is really great information to know because some people will buy children's clothing at the bins. You will pick up a whole handful of pieces for $1 or $2. And if you put them into sets, you can make a pretty great return by sending them in to swap.com. Okay, so I wanted to give you a real life application of how to decide where you want to sell or send your clothes. So say for example that you had a Charter Club top. Now Charter Club is sold at Macy's, but it is definitely one of their lower end brands. So if you took it to threadup.com, the payout estimator says you're going to be making definitely under $1 on commission because you've got 65 cents here, 40 cents here, 75 cents here. So even if you're buying it for, 25 cents at a yard sale, this would probably not be the place you want to send it. So now we're going to go over to swap.com and we're going to look at their charter club. So I see a $7, $8, $9, 7, 10. So we can get a pretty good idea at swap.com. Let's be conservative and say you can sell one there for $7. After you take out swap.com's fees, you're going to be getting $3.40 for that sale. And finally, let's check out eBay really fast. So these were solds from today for some Charter Club. We have $5.99, $3.99, $5.99, $5, but a best offer was taken, $3.99. So let's be generous and let's say that you could sell your Charter Club shirt for $5.99 on eBay. Once you take out the fees for eBay and PayPal, you have a profit of about $5.09. And that's me being generous. So the difference between selling the piece on eBay and sending it to swap.com is only about $1.69. So for those pieces that you have that you purchased for relatively inexpensive prices, it might be worth it to just send it in to swap.com and let them take care of the photographing and listing for you and just get that commission right sent to your PayPal. I'm going to end this video with some questions and comments that I got from viewers from previous days' vlogs. First up, I had somebody ask about the global shipping program via eBay. And very quickly, what this is if somebody from another country orders an item through eBay, the global shipping program is a way to where you as the buyer send the item to eBay's distribution hub in the southern part of the country, and after you send it to their warehouse, eBay picks it up from there and they take care of delivery to that foreign country. I am a big fan of the global shipping program. I definitely participate in it. I would say between maybe 5 and 8% of my sales are done to people living in foreign countries, and so it definitely is a way for me to make money on that. As the seller, I can tell you it makes no difference to me whether or not somebody buys through the global shipping program, because just like any other item that I sell, I print out a label, I pay shipping to get it to, I believe Kentucky is where eBay's warehouse is, and I would never know it was going to a foreign country. So I hope nobody's scared of joining, because you really don't have to do anything different when you sell through the global shipping program to get a package to somebody in another country. So the pros is you can sell to other countries and hopefully make lots of money. I know I'm currently not selling any vintage items or collectibles, but I know a lot of resellers that they say a lot of their vintage, like especially vintage Disney or vintage, Nike, Levi's, they will sell those overseas. I generally will sell some higher end pieces, like I've done Eileen Fisher for $60 and above to places overseas. And so, like I said, I make money through it. I like the global shipping program. The only negative, the only real negative that I know about that I've heard consistently is for certain countries, it can be much more expensive to get an item through global shipping rather than having the seller ship directly to that country. So if you are a buyer in Canada, somebody from the United States could ship you a package relatively inexpensively for not too much more than you would send it within the United States. But going through the global shipping program for that same package would be much more expensive for the buyer. So, other than that, I don't know of too many negatives. If you want to leave any comments below saying any experiences that you have that you didn't like with global shipping, I'm sure we'd all love to hear it. But if you're like me, you've had nothing but success through the program. So I am enrolled and I definitely ship through this program. Yesterday, I received a request from another viewer asking me about my storage and organization for my inventory. So I shot a short piece, well, not that short, none of my videos are short, but I shot a little segment on how I manage my inventory, which will start now.
Okay, so let's talk inventory. This is the system that I've created to deal with my inventory. I usually have under 500 pieces in my store, sometimes only 200 in my store, so it really fluctuates a lot. This system has been working well for me. I'm not looking to grow into thousands of pieces in my inventory. So that's why I kind of keep this a little bit small. Depending on how large your store is, you might have to make adjustments. But for just a smaller store, this tends to work out really well. So what I do is I take the piece, I wash it, photograph it, list it, and then I bag everything up in these clear poly bags that I buy on Amazon. I've been getting a lot of questions about these bags. The reason I'm not providing a link to the Amazon page that sells them is because I never buy the same ones twice usually. I find the cheapest ones I can, and I'm always looking at different sizes. And so depending on what you're looking for, you're gonna probably want different types of bags as well. Just go on Amazon and in the search bar, type in clear poly bag and you will find many choices and find the ones right for you. I really like the self-sealing ones because they're just so easy to use. So I will place the item very neatly into the bags, and once I have them in, I will decide, do I recognize the item from the bag, or should I write a label on it so I can find it easy later on. Now, these swimsuits are very easily recognizable, so I'm not going to attach any sort of label. As soon as you look through the bag, you know exactly what you have. So I have these little bins that I got from IKEA where I put all of my different pieces in. This is my swimwear bin, and I don't have a lot. I've been selling a lot of swimwear, so I'm just about empty. So for all of these pieces that I just created, I am going to pop those in this swimwear bin, and then I will put this bin right back on the shelf where I had it. And so if any of my bathing suits sell, I just go in, I find the particular one that sold, and I'm able to ship it. So that's what I do with a lot of the pieces that are smaller in size. Now, obviously, these aren't very big bins, and so if you had giant jackets or something that took up a lot of room, this wouldn't necessarily be right for you. And also, there are some categories where you have more pieces than what will fit in this bin, so I'm going to go through that as well. One thing I do want to say before moving further is I've got certain pieces that I do not poly bag before I ship. You all are going to recognize this piece from yesterday. This was a dress, an Anthropologie dress that I got dry cleaned. Now, one of the reasons I get these dry cleaned is to, make them look great and fresh, but also to get all of the wrinkles out. And so if I was to bag this piece up, which sells for around probably $80 or $90. It could get wrinkles, it could get creases. And when the buyer got it on the other end, they might not be happy with that because it's such an expensive piece. So I will hang this up. I have space both in my basement as well as an extra bedroom that I have to hang up any really nice pieces like this. So I will not poly bag these when I list them. Okay, so now let's talk about pieces that are not easily recognizable from the poly bag. So here I pulled out the bin for women's skirts and shorts. So again, I've been selling quite a few of these, so my bin is a little over halfway full, but definitely more can be added. Let me see, for skirts, what halfway full would be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's about 12 pieces in here, and it's a little over halfway full, just to give you an idea about how many pieces you'd be able to fit in a bin. So I just listed this skirt. This is a J. Crew pencil skirt in a size 16, but you would never know that from the outside of the bag. So if I just popped this in skirts, it might be confusing and I might not know what this is. So all I do is I grab a Post-it and a marker and I write down J. Crew pencil 16. So just something to identify the piece for myself. I take it, I put that on the bag, and then I do end up taping it down just so it doesn't fall off. Now, I did say before that some of my inventory, I have too many pieces for the smaller bins, or I have oversized pieces that don't fit in the small bins. So in that case, I use a tub. This is a tub that I purchased at my local Target. I believe I pay maybe around $4 or $5 per tub. I have about 10 of them that I use. I mark each one of them different. Some are children's jackets, men's jackets. I have one of just women's sweaters. This one happens to be workout wear. And so if you kind of take a peek inside, you'll see all the different workout wear. That includes, this is a sweater from Under Armour. I've got a couple Athleta dresses in here that haven't sold yet. What else? This is an Athleta sweater. This is a New with Tab Fabletics workout t-shirt. And so again, I list the piece and then I put it in the clear poly bag and I decide, would I be able to find this in the bin easily when it sells? And the answer to that is a yes. And so I just pop it in. I left a little bit of the label visible here so I wouldn't have any problem identifying this piece. Again, I just pop this in. I stack these up in my basement. They are waterproof and really keep the clothes safe. So I stack these up in my basement, and when something sells, I just pull out the correct bin. I look through it. I find what I'm looking for, and it makes for really, really easy shipping.
This next person asked me about my sell-through rate, or how many items I sell a day versus how many items I have in my store. And they mentioned that usually YouTubers that resell will talk about a sell-through rate of 1 to 2%. I find that pretty reasonable number. So for example, for every 100 pieces you have in your store, you're going to sell between 1 and 2 pieces a day. I usually am maybe a little bit higher than that. I will have maybe 400 pieces in my store, and I might sell 8 or 9 pieces a day. So that's a little bit more than what is considered average, but it's a pretty good rule of thumb, I think, is between 1 and 2%. And of course, it depends if you are in it for the, quick nickel. Uh, then you might have really, really low prices and you might sell through much faster. Or if you have everything starting on a really low auctions, you might have a higher sell through rate. But for somebody who uses buy it nows with best offer, and I usually try to go a little bit on the upper end of the pricing, or even more in the middle, I find 1 to 2% being a pretty good indicator of what I'm going to sell. And for the last question I'm going to answer today, I first read this in a comment and I didn't exactly know how to take it. The person writes, "It is nice to know that you're making a profit, but you do not give any specifics. I would like specifics about how you are getting people to purchase." And at first I thought, are they trolling me? Like I thought I gave specifics on how I'm doing this. But then the more I thought about it, I kind of stepped back and I thought, okay, imagine I'm new to eBay and you really are starting from scratch and you want to know how to get people to purchase an item. So I'm going to take this question at face value, and I decided that there are 5 major steps that you need to take in order to get people to buy in your store. Now, there's a lot of nuance to eBay and there's a lot of different ways to sell and different opinions on how to sell. But for me, these are the 5 things that you need to do on eBay to sell. Number one, sell quality items. This has to do a lot with your sourcing. When you go out to buy items that you're going to resell or find items that you're going to resell, they need to be quality pieces. Make sure that you're not picking up a bunch of things that have obvious defects. Make sure that you're picking up brands that are well regarded, that have good sell through rates on eBay. So, in order to sell quality items, you definitely need to do some research. You need to know what is available in your area, and out of those items that are available, what have the best return on investment. So, how much money you put into it versus how much profit you can get out of it. And so, do your research, shop around, find good prices, and at the end of the day, find quality items that people are going to want to buy. Second of all, you need to take clear photos of the items that you're selling. eBay is a very visual site, it's a very visual medium. People will type in what they're looking for and then they'll scroll very quickly through the list and just looking at photos. So they might want a pair of black pants. And so they're going to type in a brand that they like, maybe a size that they like, or maybe something general like black pants, and then they are just going to scroll through until they find the pair that's right for them. So if you have a fuzzy photo, or if you have a background that is too busy and distracting, or if you have photos that don't show the complete item, then chances are somebody's going to scroll right past your item and not click on it to see more about it and to eventually purchase. And so you really need to take clear photos. I like using white backdrops to really make all the items very clear. I like to be as close as possible to an item so I can get any details that it has. And at the end of the day, you have to remember your buyer's not able to pick this up like they would be at in a store and pick it up and try it on. So you have to do as good a job as you can at really showing them what they're going to be getting. Number 3, you need to price your items reasonably. What that means is if a pair of pants has been selling on eBay for $20 consistently. Maybe it's a pair of Levi's in a certain size and a certain wash, and it sells for $20 consistently, and you decide that you're going to go in and you're going to price your item at $30. Now, you might make that $30. That's always a possibility. But the truth is if everyone else is pricing around 20 and the item's selling for 20, then that's probably around the price point that you want to be at. If you go too high, you are going to lose a lot of buyers to lower priced items. Now, I mentioned research before, and I'm going to say it again. It's very, very important that you do research on your items because when you're pricing, you don't want to overvalue an item, but you also don't want to undervalue it. If an item is selling at a higher price point, it's okay to go maybe a little bit lower because if you want to sell something very quickly, you can definitely do that. But if you price it too low, then you're really undervaluing it and you're really not going to get the most profit that you can. And so that's where comps or comparables come in, where you do a lot of research, you find out what things are selling for, and you really try to find a sweet spot that gives you a sale that you feel comfortable with a profit that you can benefit from. Number 4, you want to use descriptive keywords in your titles. And I can't tell you how important this is. When you're writing a title, this is how most people are going to find your pieces. They use the search bar and they type in the specific item that they're looking for. And a lot of people, they might have a pair of jeans or a dress that they already have or a brand that they really like. So they're going to be typing that into the search bar. So the more descriptive keywords that you can use in that title, the better chances that you're going to come up first in their search. So if you have a dress with flowers on it, you want to put that in your title. If you have a dress that is blue and green stripes, you want to put that in your title. You want to use sizing in your title because we all know you can't wear clothes that don't fit. So people are looking for a specific size. You want to put brand names in your title because brand names often will sell a piece. So make sure you're including as much information in that title as you can. And I'm going to go one step further into this. Not only do you want to use descriptive keywords, but also when you're just giving the description later on in your listing, you also want to use measurements because it can be really hard to trust a photo or a size tag when you're buying online. You want to know that it is the right length, it is the right bust size, it is the right inseam for whatever piece you're buying. And so I do like to include measurements whenever I list clothing. And last up, you want to try to list every day. And this is something that you hear again and again from resellers. A more active store is going to get more views, it's going to get ranked higher in search, and you're going to get more eyeballs on your listings, which eventually is going to mean more sales. So I'm going to leave it here with the full 5 list of things that I recommend on how to get sales on eBay. I hope this list is helpful to you. If you have any questions about it, please leave me a comment below. And so I'm going to wrap up this 4th day in my experiment to sell as a full-time reseller on eBay. I would say it was a pretty good day. I'm pretty excited about all the listings that I was able to get up. I was also able to put together one bag for sending into ThredUp and 2 boxes that I'm sending into swap.com. So I've really moved some items today. So I've got one more day, Friday, in this experiment. I am planning a trip to the bins or the outlet, the Goodwill outlet store, just to kind of give you an idea of what that looks like and that type of sourcing. So I plan on doing that tomorrow. I probably am not going to get the video done tomorrow. However, I like to use the weekends for my family. So you can expect on Monday to see the last of the vlog in this series, what I'm going to do also is I will include all of my sales through the weekend so I can really show you what some of my increased listings has prompted in the way of profits. So thank you so much for joining me on my journey. For everyone out there that is thinking about doing this full time, I hope that I've been able to give you a little bit more insight, and I will be doing a Q&A with that Friday wrap up. So please let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, and I will be back after the weekend. Bye-bye.